All right. One of the never-ending debates out there is this Linux versus Windows. So I have here a Linux distribution called Elementary OS, and I also have Windows 7 64-bit. So I'm just going to show you now. Which OS is better? I mean, that's yeah. Which is better? Which is better and why? Well, with Windows, you have apps constantly dialing home. As soon as you connect that to the internet, you got Windows Update, trying to force updates onto your computer. A lot of people don't like that, for one. There was a rumor that Windows 8 has this NSA spying stuff, and a lot of people are just not happy with the direction that Microsoft is going. So they're wondering if there's an alternative, and this is it. This is the alternative. This is Linux. This is Elementary OS, Luna. I burned the ISO to a DVD-R. And I've been using it on and off for about 1 to 2 weeks now. And basically, there was a bunch of games I wanted to play. And on Windows 7, 64-bit, by the way, they played terribly. I don't know what it was, but on Elementary OS Linux, my games actually played better on Linux. How strange. Linux has a better file system than Windows. We don't have to defragment our hard drives, so we don't get fragmentation. All the files on Linux is laid out in a certain way, so we don't get fragmentation. With Windows, all of the information is scattered. So it's constantly having to pull that information back from different parts of the hard drive. With Linux, you don't even need a hard drive. You don't even need one. You can run this directly from a disk. So if you want to do some secure shopping on the internet, you might want to pop this disk in, boot up from it, and it's a lot more secure. You're a lot less vulnerable to viruses. Windows 7 and, well, every version of Windows is more susceptible to viruses. So what are you supposed to do? Use Linux. It's more secure and it's more stable. Now another issue that I want to talk about is Google. I don't like how Google is tracking my internet activity. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Having ads and adverts that are targeted towards my account, I don't like that. So maybe I should use my Linux Live CD for a more secure internet experience. Not blaming Google for that. They're in it to make money. I understand that. But getting back to the main point of this video, Windows 7 or Windows 8 is better for video editing and making music. So I make videos. My webcam does not work with Linux. It just doesn't work. I'm using a Microsoft LifeCam HD3000 to make my video, and it doesn't work with Linux. My MP3 player, that works better with Windows 7. I don't know why. It transfers my music faster than Linux. So Windows has better hardware compatibility compared to Linux, and it might be better for productivity and gaming. With Windows, you have Microsoft Office. With Linux, we have LibreOffice. It's like a Microsoft Office alternative. It gets the job done, but Microsoft Office is just better for a lot of people. A lot of people are using Microsoft Office 2010, or maybe you're using Microsoft Office 2013. It's just better for productivity. So yeah. But seriously, guys, I mean, if you want to try Linux, then the best thing to do is just to get yourself one of these. You can download an ISO for free. You can check out the Elementary OS website. Do a search for Elementary OS Luna, and you can download it for free. And let me just throw this one out there. This Linux Live DVD has saved me on more than one occasions. I don't know, if you have a computer that decides to just not work all of a sudden, you know how Windows freezes up and crashes and restarts itself all the time due to viruses and error messages. Well, you can use your Linux Live CD to back up your files. Or maybe you have a hard drive that you're selling or donating. You're getting rid of your old computer. You want to wipe that computer clean. You can put in your Linux Live CD, type in a command from the terminal, and we have a great command here. There's a great program on Linux called Disk Destroyer. dd if 0of equals dev sda hda. That doesn't mean anything to you, I understand that, but like you do a search on the internet called type in Linux zero fill, and it shows you how to wipe a hard drive with a Linux Live DVD, because Linux is Unix-like. It's not Unix, but Linus Torvalds created Linux in 1991 as a free. So it's like a free version of Unix, but it's open source, so all the software is completely free to use. And it's encouraged to share the software. So Linux is more about a community and freeing people from the corporations. I use Linux if I want more control and more freedom. Maybe there's something that I need to do that I can't do with Windows. But to think that Linux is better than Windows, for the average consumer, no. Most people, they go out and they buy a product and it's going to have Windows 8 on it or Windows 7, and they're just going to buy the software that they want to run on their computer. And Linux isn't really good for most people. It's more for people that want more control over their computer. So yeah. Linux is better than Windows in a lot of ways. My advice is try it and see. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I've been testing Linux for a long time. I've used Ubuntu, I've used Linux Mint, I've used Elementary OS. This has Elementary OS 64-bit on it. This is Luna, by the way. And it's a lot more user-friendly, that's for sure. It's a lot less annoying. It's more easier to use. You don't have your apps constantly connecting to all these services that you don't want them connecting to. So Linux is a lot more secure. But yeah, I could talk about this all day. But I don't really know what else to say. It just depends on what you use your computer for, really. There's some software and some apps that do not work with Linux, or I haven't. That's an interesting thing. With Linux, you can actually get Windows apps to work on Linux. We have a compatibility layer called Wine, which allows you to run Windows apps on your Linux computer. So maybe I will see if I can get my video editing software working on Linux. If it only works for Windows, maybe I can get it to work on Linux too. It's all about freedom of choice, guys, and with Linux you can customize your computer to your heart's content. If you don't like Ubuntu Unity, you can put KDE on there, and that's a desktop environment. As for me, I look at the operating system as a tool. What helps you to get your work done? What allows you to be the most productive? That's what we got to think about here. And I think that me personally, or all of us to some extent, we take life too seriously. We take computers too seriously. And it's like, oh, which OS is best? Linux is better than Windows. I should go out and buy a Mac and spend £1,000 or whatever, or I should go out, or Windows 8 is better than Windows 7, and Windows 7 is better than Linux, or Linux is better than Windows 8. I don't know. We take it too seriously, and what's better for me might not be better for you, because every computer is different. If you have a computer with low-end hardware, then you might want to put Linux on there. But again, it's all about freedom of choice. So those are just my thoughts on the whole Linux versus Windows debate. Again, try it and see. Try it and see. I still find myself running Linux from my live DVD from time to time. If Windows screws up, it's a great way to save your critical information. So you want a Linux Live DVD at least. There's a great article on the internet that explains why a Linux Live DVD might help to benefit you and recovering your information. In fact, there was one time where I had a Windows computer that failed to boot up. It would not boot into Windows. I had to recover all of my files using my Ubuntu 12.4 Live DVD. I was able to access all of the hard drives and copy the content to my USB memory stick. So it's a great tool for security and recovering your information. That's why it's important. It's not good, but it's good for some things. Because every OS is different and every OS has its different uses. There's not one that's better than the other. Every OS has its strengths and weaknesses. And I guess the point of this video was just to outline the main differences between both systems. And again, I use both. To be honest, Linux is a lot of fun. Windows is incredibly boring from time to time. You get the same boring desktop with the taskbar. If you're on Windows 8, you got Metro in the desktop, and it's just boring. If you want to customize your computer and do more with your computer, then give Linux a try. Try it and see. Alright, thanks for watching my video, guys, and I hope this was helpful. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be making more technology related videos, and have a wonderful day. Bye now.